allegiance, Ken. To you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the December 1st, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Board of Commissioners. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3 alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who serves as vice chair and represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning and welcome, everyone.
Morning.
First item, please.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
Questions or comments about the consent agenda?
I have none.
I have none.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
We have no vouchers. We did not spend any
Oh.
money.
We have no voucher, you're right. No. Okay.
Great news for the
There you
taxpayers.
go, yes. Well,
Next item, please.
Item 2, consider correction orders.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the correction orders as presented by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A3, consider approval of resolution numbers 2014-105 and 2014-106, authorizing 2015 cereal malt beverage licenses for Petro Deli Inc., located at 3603 Northwest 46th Street, and the Southern Star Cafe LLC, located at 5900 Southwest Topeka Boulevard, including Sunday sales. And this has been, as normal, has been reviewed by the County Counselor's Office. We had gotten the report for KBI, the taxes are paid, townships have been notified, and all we're asking is that these two be approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolutions as presented.
Second. Oh, good.
Tie. You choose.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Treasurer, number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Treasurer Ma regarding the creation of another Accountant Clerk 3 position in motor vehicle.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. This is a motor vehicle item. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Questions or comments for the treasurer?
What is the need for the creation of the new position?
We've taken on a lot of new responsibilities, including title approval, as well as a new software module for that came with our tax package, and commercial vehicles.
Questions, Commissioner?
I have
I don't believe we need a vote on this, do we?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Next
thank you.
item.
Thank you.
Item C, Emergency Management, number 1, consider approval of request to pay an invoice in the amount of $4,080 for annual maintenance of the Wakarusa stream gauge.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins from Emergency Management. This is just our annual payment for the USGS stream gauge down in the town of Wakarusa. The other ones around the community are either paid for by the city or they're picked up through federal funds, but this one we do pay the $4,000 and we get $1,000 or $1,200, whatever it is, stipend from feds that pay the other part of that. So I'll answer any other questions.
Just for the record, what is it and what does it do?
Okay, the stream gauge allows us to go online and watch the water flow rise and fall in Wakarusa. Helps us to predict flooding. Also helps the United States Geological Service to watch for flooding in the Weather Service. And citizens can go online also and look at the gauge. So we've got them at Rossville, we've got them on the Shunga Creek, we've got them on the Kansas River, and we've got them in Wakarusa.
And they serve as an early warning.
Yes. they're an early
Planning
warning
your
for us
yard.
to see the water coming up when we
Right.
get these big rains. You know, for example, Wakarusa tends to come up a little bit slower, and Cross Creek comes up a little bit slower, but they tend to stay there as opposed to like the Shunga Creek where it really comes up fast, but it goes away just as fast. So it lets us watch so we put resources in the right places.
Okay. Other questions for Mr. Stebbins?
No?
I have none. I'll move approval of the request.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you,
Thank you.
David. Next item.
Item D, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of request to solicit requests for proposals for the operation and management of the Crossover Tennis Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This is a request to go out and solicit a request for proposal to operate and manage the Crossover Tennis Center that is in Felker Park, around 25th and Gage Boulevard there. The reason I'm asking to go out and request proposals is the contract, the original contract was formed in 2002 between the City of Topeka and Wood Valley Racquet Club. Wood Valley Racquet Club has changed ownerships probably a couple times since then. Also, the master plan calls for us to look at this every couple of years. We've done similar things with the Helen Hawker Theater, our licensed preschools. We just recently finished one for the management of our 3 golf courses. That original contract in 2002 really hadn't been updated at all. We inherited it on the merger in 2012. That contract ran through the end of 2013. We've been working with them on a month-to-month basis since that time. I think it's time to go out, test the market, and see what's available, make the best deal for Shawnee County and the taxpayers of Shawnee County. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I agree with you, and I think it's important, and I think you mentioned it, that this links to the strategic plan, and that's important going forward on everything we do, actually. in the
These
area of Parks
partnerships
and Rec.
are I anticipate having more and more partnerships like this, and in private groups, private individuals, companies, anybody who is making some type of a profit off of public facilities needs to compete for those facilities, and also we need to regularly, every year, every couple of years, review those to make sure that it's a good deal for not only our partners, but also a good deal for the Shawnee County taxpayers.
I couldn't agree more.
Well said. No, well said.
Commissioner?
No, I don't have any other
I
questions.
Yes,
do know
Commissioner
that
Cook.
Bob Keeshan is present. I know that I've had extensive conversations with Mr. Keeshan. He will tell us his exact association with the Tennis Association.
Thank you, Commissioners. Bob Keeshan, 1520 Southwest Stratford Road. I've been a board member of Topeka Tennis Association for 33 years. Until November 23rd, 2014, I had been president of the Kansas District Tennis Association, which starts in Shawnee County and goes west. The crossover is 18 courts. It is open by contract from April 1 to October 31, 7 in the morning till 8 p.m. at night. It's been a very successful program. This year we won an award for Outstanding Adult Tournament in a 5-state area. We won an award in the Kansas District for Outstanding Tournament. We have junior programs that are very successful. John presented a brief history, and there's his November 24th memorandum about the request to the city. The program started in 2001 when there was a request for proposals by the city. There were 2 bids, one by Wood Valley for $45,000, one by Kent Schultz, a private individual who had been there before, for $65,000. The contract was negotiated for $35,000, and it's been $35,000, the same rate, ever since 2002. It's gone for 3-year increments. It expired December of 2013, and as John said, we're month to month, despite the request of TTA and Wood Valley to renew the contract. A lot of things has happened since then. John mentioned the master plan. That came out in June. In July, Genesis, which has 18 health clubs in Kansas, Missouri, and 5 indoor-outdoor tennis complexes, bought Wood Valley. The master plan, and I participated in that by KDTA on page 26, talks about tennis in only one place. And it says, determine which programs could be enhanced and develop a pricing strategy to support the enhancement of participation in these programs without duplicating efforts already occurring in the areas where needed. And the idea of this master plan is to get public-private partnerships. We have a public-private partnership with the Topeka Tennis Association, which has raised $500,000 in 3 campaigns over 30 years for these tennis courts. We have relationships with Washburn University, with the Sunflower State Games, with the indoor clubs, with the high school association, and you have that public-private partnership already in place. The concern I have is, number one, do we really need this bid for the tennis program? And number two, the timing. And it is the timing that I would like to specifically address, because the master plan, when you look at the very end of it, talks about completing this survey on cost benefits by the end of 2016. We've been going month to month for 11 months. We didn't get a contract in all of 2014. In July, we've got a new party, Genesis. The concern is the Missouri Valley section, which hosts these large sectional tournaments, requires indoor backup to host what would be really for the Missouri Valley section a medium-sized tournament. A big tournament requires 48 courts in the city, 12 indoor courts, which we can't do. But we do host the medium size, and we have probably a 98% chance of hosting 250 kids in July over a 4-day period, provided there's some guarantee. And I was contacted by the executive director of the Missouri Valley USTA section, a 5-state program, saying, what's going on in Topeka? They've got this tentatively scheduled. There's an annual meeting December 5th and 6th in Kansas City where we'll vote on these matters. I talked to Mary Bushman on my last day as president, November 23rd. They're still willing to try and have the program here if we can have the contract completed, or if you want to make having the program here contingent upon continuation, that's fine. I talked to Simon Norman from Genesis, who is in charge of the transition. They're still willing for a 1-year period to do the $35,000 because they think it has potential. And so my request would be that you continue this contract for 1 year, and then if you feel it's necessary, put it out for bids. Maximus, which had the program before, I know didn't do the bookkeeping that they probably should have done. But you have a chance with new entities to continue a very successful program. If you put it out for bids, I'm not sure what you're going to get. I suspect with only one indoor facility that the price will be much higher, and you have a chance to lock in a 2002 rate. So with all due respect to Mr. Knight and the master plan, I don't think it's necessary for tennis, but if you think it's necessary, I submit it should be done at the end of this season, and we should lock in the tournament. Do you have any questions?
Questions? Commissioner Cook.
Thank you. Mr. Keeshan, if we were to have a contract extension at this point, is it your request that we continue on the month-to-month as we have for the last 11 months, have a 1-year contract? Which is it that you're asking for?
The 1-year contract with month-to-month payments. Regardless, it's my understanding until there is a proposal that we would continue the month-to-month payments, but you really need some continuity, some guarantees on both sides. You don't want Genesis or somebody pulling out in the middle of the season, and Genesis doesn't want to start something and have it yanked away from them. So I think a 1-year contract with month-to-month payments would be what would be the best interest of the tennis community and actually Shawnee County, given that this is the same price it's been since 2002.
And if we delayed taking a action on an RFP or making an award of an RFP until next year, basically having a year to do an RFP, would that give the Topeka Tennis Association the time that they need to run their business during, I mean, you're making preparations now for next year.
Yes.
And so if we start an RFP now, you're losing out on the qualities or the bids that you would make for the tennis season?
We're going to continue probably, but it's more of Genesis wants some stability. You've got new parties here. Genesis took over July of 2016. The master plan came out June of 2016. They are willing to try it for a year and see the experience, just like I think the county would be wise to try what has been a tried and proven program. It would be Genesis that would do much of the reporting. We're more of a volunteer organization that assists with tournaments, but we run 2 tournaments as our fundraising, and Genesis runs the programs, or Maximus or Wood Valley or whoever runs the programs. We volunteer, we provide staff, we provide volunteers, but we don't really run the programs.
Looking at the season for the Tennis Association, would it be better to have an RFP in June rather than in December?
Maybe August, September, after pretty much the tennis season is over. June might be premature. I don't know that you'd have final statistics. The bulk of the season wraps up mid-August. I don't know about June. I think that's a little optimistic, but I think clearly before the end of the year you could have an RFP and have basic numbers.
Okay.
Thank you.
My questions would be for John.
Mine too. Go ahead. Commissioner Bueller, go ahead.
John, timing for an RFP, total timing, weeks, months? I mean, if we approve this and we go out for RFP?
With the golf one, the recent one we just did for the golf course management, we were out for 2 weeks. Then it took another 2 weeks to review them, and we are negotiating a contract right now that's come down to the commissioners. It's actually been approved by me and should be on one of the next upcoming commission agendas. So between 3 and 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks.
So weeks, not months.
Correct.
And from what I read in the memorandum, you're strongly recommending that we do this. It's time to take a look. It's been a number of years, and again, it keeps in tune with the master plan to look at operations and partnerships. I'll support the.
And I just might
Commissioner?
just weigh in briefly. I support an RFP. I think that RFPs are always, well, almost always a good idea. They do give you a snapshot of what you're providing now. Is there something better that we're missing out on? So I do support going out for an RFP. My only question is now the best time to do so? If you're looking at the Topeka Tennis Association, if you're looking at a group of organization that has managed this facility, they've oversaw the operation of the facility now since 2002, 12 years, is now in December of 2014 the best time? Or is this an action that should be deferred until latter part of next year, July, August, when the tennis season is over, so that they can go out and make the bids that they can, or whatever entity can be able to host the tournaments? If we're talking about 250 youngsters that are going to come in for a tournament over 4 days, that has an economic impact. I see H.R. Cook at the back of the room. He can tell you what the economic impact of having those tournaments are to a community. And so I just worry that if we go out for an RFP now, are we potentially losing out on the ability to host those tournaments? Are we losing out on those economic abilities? And those do have an impact on the economy. So I just offer that to thought.
Yes.
Just a comment, we have a month-to-month contract as it stands, correct?
With Wood Valley Racket Club,
Okay,
not Topeka Tennis.
okay. But we're gonna honor that contract, I mean, in much the same way we are now. I mean, if there are tournaments coming in, we're gonna honor that contract throughout that month. We're not gonna pull out on any contracts, correct? I mean,
No, we would honor all of those. And I would also extend that I'd be willing to work with Visit Topeka and some of those groups to make sure that the events coming up, they had appropriate contact, and we did our very best to keep all of those events here. This contract doesn't do that.
And I guess what I heard from Mr. Keeshan, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, is that without something such as a contract with the Topeka Tennis Association or Wood Valley Racket Club, that the entities that decide where the tournaments are to be held have reservation over, if we schedule a tournament in July in Topeka, is that group even going to be there to host that tournament? And I don't know if that's exactly what I heard, if that's the concern coming from the Topeka Tennis Association.
Could I address that?
Certainly.
December 5th and 6th is the annual.
Bob,
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
December 5th and 6th is the annual meeting in Kansas City where these mid-size and big tournaments are bid. And at that time, we would know, but I've forwarded to the commissioners the tentative arrangements, and I was contacted by the executive director of Missouri Valley wanting some assurances that there would be indoor backup before this tournament would be granted. Last year it was in St. Louis. They wanted a more central location. I won't know for sure until December 5th and 6th when the committee meets, but they might come, they might not come. If there is a contract, I would say there's 98% chance, if we continue what we're doing, that they will be coming in July, if that explains it.
Commissioners, I'd also be glad to meet with the Wood Valley or Genesis people. Sounds to me like the sticking point is the indoor courts, and Shawnee County doesn't have any indoor courts.
Right.
I'm uneasy saying to extend a contract in which I can't explain that it's a good deal for the county just for indoor courts, which is in somebody else's court. With that being said, I have tried to visit with some other department heads here to see if, as you guys probably know, I'm not the smartest guy around. So I did visit with some other people who are a little bit smarter than me, and this was pretty much the direction that was recommended by everyone. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
And you serve on the board of Visit Topeka, is that
Yes.
correct?
Mhm.
I thought that was true. What's your pleasure?
If December the 5th is the time for the meeting, and knowing that if we can have our Parks and Rec working with Wood Valley, if we're looking at that action, that's Friday. If we delayed this by a week, taking this action up on the 8th, that might change where things stand.
But I think Mr. Keeshan wants the ability to say to the group that we're solid.
Right.
And if we're going to do an RFP today or next week, we can't give that assurance, or he can't give that assurance, I don't think.
That's correct, Commissioner Arster. We need the assurance in order to have the tournament, or be sure that we'll have the tournament here.
So deferring for a week's not really going to buy us anything, I don't think.
I can make the commitment on the county's part that the Kosovo Tennis Center could be available for those tournaments and be more than happy to do that.
And work with Genesis to ensure that we have
Some type of
the
backup.
material. I'll make a motion to approve the request to solicit RFPs.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no.
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1. Commissioner Cook dissents. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item E, Information Technology. Number 1, consider approval of request to purchase 22 aftermarket network switches in an amount of $21,090.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pat O'Blender with the Information Technology Department. On the item before you today, if you look closely at the informational packet that's associated with the memo, you'll find an invoice for these switches included. The only way that an invoice could be provided would be as if we'd already placed the order. This is one of those mea culpa situations. I had inadvertently approved the order. I conflated that with the permission that had been granted for the purchase of the switches for the elections office, and accidentally pulled the trigger on this one. And I would am begging forgiveness for that indiscretion. The switches that we're looking for permission to purchase are aftermarket switches. These switches are purchasable as new items from the state of Kansas contract. But these switches that we're looking for here are aftermarket switches that provide the same functionality, but they're used equipment. The big benefit to the switches purchased that way is that they are about 25% the cost of new switches. And we're putting them into locations where they are not hypercritical. The failure of one switch would not bring down the entire network, so to speak. It would bring down several workstations rather than the entire network. So we do feel comfortable that that's an appropriate place to put those switches. But what we're asking for here is permission to purchase these switches by waiving the normal purchasing arrangements and purchase from phone bids rather than the normal procedure. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Questions for Mr. Oblander?
Thank you for your bringing this up and being as candid and forthright with the commission. I understand that this is not something that would have normally happened. It is an oversight, but I understand what occurred, and I would move to approve the expenditure.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item E2, consider authorization and execution of contract C422-2014 with TSG for annual maintenance of hardware and software for the AS400 and RS6000 service platforms in an amount of $14,660.67.
Commissioners, this item is for annual maintenance for the AS400 platform and the RS6000 platforms. These are hardware platforms that currently support the New World system that the Sheriff's Office and dispatch centers use for records management. It's currently undergoing migration to a new platform and will be hosted on our virtualization platform. However, completion of that project is not anticipated until sometime in March of next year. Consequently, we need to keep the AS400 platform going through at least that time period, and probably for some time past that as a fallback, just in case. We'll also need to be continuing the maintenance for the RS6000 server platforms indefinitely. Those will be a separate item later, but those are not anticipated to be retired with the migration. The cost for those will reduce significantly though when we get down to just the RS6000s. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Questions for Pat? Commissioner? Okay.
Move approval of the request.
Second.
Or the contract, sorry.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item F, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to issue a request for quotation for 7,500 cubic yards of lightweight aggregate material and an estimated cost of $350,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block of Public Works and Solid Waste. This is the Public Works item. This request is to go out, as mentioned, for haydite. That is the granular material that we use to do our chip sealing of roads. We're asking to go out for it to bid at this time because there is a limited supply that the regional manufacturers of this product can make, and we like to get our bid out as soon as possible so we get our allotment reserved. And then the delivery of it would come in 2015, and so it would be paid for out of the 2015 budget, out of our road maintenance budget. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. We will, once we receive the bids, we will be back before the commission to report the bids and recommend an award.
No questions?
Is this a petroleum-based product?
No, this is the granular material that we use. We use oil. The way it works is we will apply a thin application of oil first,
Okay.
which is petroleum-based. But then this is just a granular material that goes on
It goes on top.
goes on top and,
Okay.
and roll it in, and then it sets and then holds it in place.
Okay.
The oil holds it in
Okay.
place.
Very good.
Move approval of the request.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item F2, consider approval of request to provide $45,000 to Keep America Beautiful from the solid waste operations budget accounts.
Commissioners, Tom Block again with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a solid waste item. Keep America Beautiful, as you know, is a local entity that provides a lot of assistance and information and promotion of different events and educational information for essentially keeping our community clean. Solid Waste in years past has found their assistance and all the work they do very beneficial to the community as a whole, and Solid Waste has always felt, I guess, inclined that it's very well worth our while to donate or provide some funding for Keep America Beautiful. And that is this annual request again, to provide $45,000 to Keep America Beautiful. And the funds for that, where we get the funds is again from the Solid Waste Operational Fund, which again is no tax monies. But as part of our agreement with Waste Management, we do get we get a cost per ton of any amount that is put into the landfill. We would take the monies from the amount we get back from Waste Management to fund this effort as we've done in the past. And so it's our recommendation that this be approved, and we have included it in our budget for this next year and several years past.
Questions?
Just noting that on the attachment, in 2014, Keep America Beautiful had 431,239 volunteers, equaling 490,649 hours. And so I'm just noting that this is a great return on investment in the community. I would move for approval of the expenditure.
I'll second, and appreciate that Felicia does a great job on reporting always. And just to clarify, but this is for 2015 budget, not current
Correct.
budget. Okay.
Yes.
Because I don't know if it specifically says that in here. It gives all the information for 13 and 14, but doesn't necessarily say 15.
Okay.
So
Yes, and it would
just
be for next
15.
year. We have
Okay.
already allocated the funds for this current year.
Okay.
Motion made to approve by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item G, Health Agency. Number 1, consider approval of request to fill one Office Assistant 2 position at a total cost of $32,265.35, including benefits. Local Health Department.
Morning, Commissioners. Allison Alejos, Health Agency. Before you is a request to fill an Office Assistant 2 position. This is a position in our WIC and Immunization Department. They actually are very important in making sure patients get checked in and checked out timely. They make sure that the data is entered into the system so that we can do appropriate billing. They also verify insurance coverage and post payments as they're received. So it's a very important position for us. This position would be funded through the WIC grant and revenues generated through the Immunization Department. And you can see it's a total cost of $32,265 per year for benefits and salary.
Questions or comments?
Paid through by grants, not general tax dollars.
Correct. And revenues that are generated through our immunization program.
Motion to approve filling the Office Assistant 2 position.
Second.
Motion made to approve the request by Commissioner Cook and seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item H, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 423-2014 with Canon Solutions America for lease of 11 copiers for 5 years at a cost of $22,398.42 per year.
I'll make a motion to defer consideration of this contract for 1 week, as there's no representative from the Sheriff's Office here. And I have questions, and I'm sure Commissioners Cook and Bueller do also. So that's a motion to defer for 1 week.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer and seconded by Commissioner Cook to defer for 1 week. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Good morning, Commissioners. H.R. Cook, General Manager, Kansas Expo Center. Just an update. The NCAA volleyball selection show was last night at 7:30 on ESPNU, and Kansas University did make it into the NCAA volleyball championships, and they will be hosting those games at the Kansas Expo Center starting on Friday. Our bracket is going to be Creighton and Oregon State and University of Arkansas Little Rock versus Kansas on Friday, and then the finals for that then will be Saturday. So it's great to have a Division I playoff in Topeka, Kansas. I don't know if this has happened before or not. I didn't check any records, but we welcome Kansas University to Topeka and hope everybody can come out and support the Jayhawks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, HR.
Commissioners, Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. This Saturday is the first Saturday of the month, so we will be having the Saturday collection at the Household Hazardous Waste Facility from 9 to noon, which is located at 131 Northwest 46th Street, which is about a quarter mile east of the roundabout at North Topeka Boulevard and 46th Street. Again, that's free of charge to all residents for drop-off of old paint, herbicides, oil, batteries, light bulbs, things of that nature. So, thank you.
Good, thank you, Tom. Others? Okay, Commissioner Bueller, anything to add?
I know that we have the League of Women Voters Government Issues tomorrow at the library. All three of us are going to be in attendance, correct?
Correct.
Over the noon hour, so looking forward to that. And then on Wednesday, Safe Streets is recognizing one of our own for the Character Recognition Council, Lynn Bishop, who is with Parks and Recreation, and so congratulations to her that they'll have that press conference on Wednesday. So
Very good, thank you.
I'm looking for Randy and John, but I don't see them here, so anyway.
They usually bug out just when you need them most. Commissioner Cook?
Made it all the way through Thanksgiving, and here we are today, ready to get back to work. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Next item, please.
Item 6, Executive Session.
There is a need to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, and I believe that's the only issue we've got. And I want to begin with the commissioners only, and then have the county counselor, the finance administrator, and the HR director join us. And that's a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 30 minutes.
I would second, but I would ask if we can add matters relating to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not it needs consultation with representatives or representatives of the body or agency.
I think we just did. Is that a motion?
That is a motion to add that.
Motion to adjourn into executive session for 30 minutes to cover those issues we just discussed. Seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0, and we are in executive session.
It's
Saturday night.
I have sat through snow.
I know.
And ice and rain.
It was like 60 degrees when we took off. Couldn't they ask for better conditions? We are out of executive session and regular session now, and we are adjourned.
This one, yeah. And had a new pen.